Hey everyone, welcome back to Unveiling Stories. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Without further ado, let's get into today's story. A few weeks ago, I found myself in a situation so bizarre and fraught with danger that it felt like something out of a thriller movie. I've listened to countless stories on various channels, but none quite like mine. So, I decided to share my tale, hoping it might serve as a cautionary note, or at least an entertaining read. My name is Daniel, I'm 30 years old, and I live just outside London. I've worked hard to secure a decent job that allows me the luxury of working part-time, giving me ample opportunity to travel. I've been to many countries, but Thailand has always held a special allure for me. It's a land of contrasts, breathtaking beauty, vibrant culture, and a nightlife that can either enchant or ensnare you. I'm not what you'd call a ladies' man, but I've had my share of relationships with attractive women back home. However, nothing serious ever materialised, and I hadn't been looking for anything long-term for over a year. That was until I met Nina. Nina wasn't just any woman I met in Thailand. She was a bar girl from Bangkok, though I didn't know that when we first crossed paths. For the sake of this story, I'll call her Nina. Our meeting, the relationship that followed, and the chaotic events that unfolded are what I want to share with you. I didn't meet Nina in a bar, as one might expect. It was at a nightclub in Bangkok, a place pulsating with neon lights and thumping bass lines. I was on the dance floor, letting loose after a long day of exploring the city. That's when I noticed her, petite, with a radiant smile and an energy that was impossible to ignore. We ended up dancing together, and later, sitting at a table sharing drinks and laughter. Nina was different from the other women I'd met in Thailand. She was cute, spoke decent English, and didn't immediately ask me to buy her drinks or pay for her company. I was 99% sure she was a bar girl, but her lack of pushiness intrigued me. I've never been one to frequent go-go bars or engage with freelancers, but Nina had a way of drawing me in without trying too hard. After about an hour, she told me she had to go home. She didn't ask me to join her or hint at any transactional arrangement. Instead, she handed me her line ID and said, "Text me if you want to see me again." I did. The next night, we went on a date. Over drinks, Nina opened up about her life. She told me she worked at a go-go bar, had a young son, and was once married to a Thai man from Khon Kaen. She was brutally honest, which I appreciated, but her background gave me pause. I told her up front that I wasn't looking for anything serious. She nodded, seemingly unfazed. I continued my travels, hopping from Phuket to Koh Samui, Pattaya, and other off-the-beaten-path destinations, but something kept pulling me back to Bangkok. A few weeks later, I found myself at the same nightclub, hoping to run into Nina again. And I did. Despite my earlier reservations, I couldn't deny the chemistry between us. We danced, drank, and talked late into the night. One thing led to another, and we ended up spending the night together. What followed was a whirlwind romance. Nina's blunt honesty was refreshing. Unlike other Thai women I'd met, she didn't try to hide her profession or spin elaborate lies. She was upfront about her life, her struggles and her dreams. I found myself drawn to her resilience and vulnerability. But there was a nagging voice in the back of my mind. I knew the risks of getting involved with a bar girl. The stories I'd heard about scams, long cons and heartbreak played on repeat in my head. Yet, I couldn't help but feel a connection with Nina. After a few weeks of spending almost every day together, I had to return to London for work. I promised Nina I'd come back, but as the days passed, doubt crept in. The joy I'd felt in Thailand began to fade, replaced by scepticism. I decided to do some research, scouring forums and channels for stories similar to mine. What I found was unsettling. I created a fake WhatsApp account and messaged Nina, pretending to be a former customer she'd mentioned. To my dismay, she took the bait, agreeing to meet up and even discussing a holiday together. I was crushed but not entirely surprised. I ended things with her immediately, grateful that I hadn't been scammed out of any money. Nina was devastated. She blocked me, and I didn't hear from her for weeks. When I returned to Thailand, I threw myself into the nightlife, avoiding go-go bars but indulging in the company of local women. I was honest with them about my lingering feelings for Nina, and through our conversations, I gained a deeper understanding of their world. Months later, I ran into Nina again. She was drunk and emotional when she saw me, but we eventually started talking. She admitted she'd gone back to working at the bar, but insisted she hadn't been with anyone else. I was sceptical, but couldn't deny that I still had feelings for her. We decided to give things another shot, but this time I set boundaries. I offered to support her financially if she quit the bar and cut ties with her past clients. She agreed, and for a while it seemed like she was genuinely trying to change. But the doubts never fully disappeared. When I returned to London, the paranoia resurfaced. I realised our relationship was built on shaky ground, and I ended things again. Nina was understanding, and we agreed to remain friends. The real drama unfolded during my next visit to Thailand. Nina invited me to her family's home in Khon Kaen. I agreed, hoping to reconnect with her and her family. But what happened next was beyond anything I could have imagined. We arrived at her family's house after an overnight bus ride. The next morning I was jolted awake by shouting outside. Nina rushed out of the room, and moments later a large Thai man burst in, shoving me in the face. It was Nina's ex-husband. Chaos erupted. He accused me of stealing his wife and threatened me in broken English. I was in a vulnerable position, alone, in a remote area, with no one to turn to. I knew better than to escalate the situation. Thais stick together, especially when a foreigner is involved. Nina's family intervened, and I was quickly shuffled out of the house. Later I learned that her ex had taken her phone and sent me a message claiming Nina had been with him while I was in London. Nina denied it, but the damage was done. I left Khon Kaen shaken and confused. Nina and I stayed in touch, but the trust between us was irreparably broken. I couldn't help but wonder, was her ex-husband's outburst genuine, or was it an act? Was Nina playing a long game, or was she as much a victim of circumstance as I was? I've since returned to Thailand multiple times, but I've never gone back to Nina's family home. The experience left me with more questions than answers. Was I just another Farang caught in the crossfire of a complicated culture I barely understood? Or was there a chance, however slim, that Nina and I could have made it work? This story is a reminder that Thailand, for all its beauty and charm, can be a labyrinth of cultural nuances and hidden dangers. I've learned to tread carefully, but the allure of the land of smiles keeps pulling me back. As for Nina, she remains a bittersweet chapter in my life, a reminder of how love and deception can intertwine in the most unexpected ways.